Hi sir, my name is Akshita. I'm a singer-songwriter from Ahmedabad, Gujarat. This moment here is just going to change a lot of things for me. So I'm extremely grateful. This is like a dream come true.
So what do you want to write about?
I'm inspired by all the struggles and I want to write music that's relatable. But at the same time, I think I really want to also explore different soundscapes and all the different kind of music influences that I've had, bring them together so that people can enjoy all kinds of music and have the understanding that there's no barrier to it.
Songwriting is something about how you convey the feeling and how original it is. Good luck.
Thank you so much, sir.
Hey everyone, this is Shruti. Welcome to my podcast, I'm Just Curious, where I talk of all things I'm curious about with the people I'm curious about and how they turn their passion into their profession. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking to someone who is a psychologist turned singer and who has had an amazing journey. She's recently in the process of recording her own album, her own EPs. So I'm very excited to welcome Akshita with me on the podcast today. Hi Akshita, how are you?
Hi, I'm excited for this conversation because I've been looking forward to it.
Great. I'm excited to hear that you are excited and you look lovely. Yeah.
It's your
No, that's very kind and generous of you to say
honestly.
that. Yeah. But so how's it going? How are you feeling? What's the vibe today?
I am really excited for this conversation because I think this is the first time I'm feeling like I'm going to get to talk about my music at a length.
Yeah.
And in ways that I would love to.
Right.
So I'm feeling very, very, very excited. And I think that's an understatement in many roles.
Right. I'm glad. You look excited. You look lovely. So let's get into it. Let's start from the beginning. You studied psychology.
Yes, I did.
Talk to me about that. Like, how did that happen? And was it like you stumbled upon singing, or was it like, you always wanted to sing, but psychology just happened? Like, talk to me about that.
Yeah. So singing was always a part of my life. It was just something that I didn't consciously realize for a long time. And psychology was, how I like to call it, a happy accident in my life.
Okay.
Because although as a teenager, I always knew I wanted to do music, it was never my first option. And me and everybody around in my family, nobody comes really from the musical background. So we thought that I should study and do something nice. And then I was into psychology and I studied psychology. But while I was doing psychology, music started happening for me as well at the same time. So that's how they both walked into my life at the same time. And
Interesting.
it was, it was a very crazy moment because I was like, oh my God, I have music as well. And wow, I love psychology and I'm good at both. So wow, how did this happen?
I feel like there's a little bit of connect there because I feel like artists in general are kind of deep people. And to be a psychologist, to read people's minds or to get into people's minds, you have to, get into the depths of things and everything.
Yeah.
So I feel like those two are interconnected.
Yeah.
And like you rightly said, that both of them walked into your life, which is very interesting. They chose you, I feel like, instead rather than you, going out and choosing.
I really agree. I think before I chose both of them, it was something that just naturally, instinctively meant to be for me. When I look back at it, I don't see myself doing anything else. This just feels like the right
Other than
fit.
singing or both?
I think now I'm professionally just a singer and an artist and a voice
Oh,
teacher.
lovely.
But at the same time, psychology is still a very integral part of my life.
Okay.
Because, it's such a holistic subject.
Right.
How can it not be a part of anybody's life?
Right. Yeah.
So it cannot leave me at any day. And I love studying behavior and everything related to that. So I pretty much can run away from it, but it's going to be good.
I'm looking
wherever I
forward
go.
to getting an analysis on me,
No.
behavior analysis on me.
Oh, no.
I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, talk to me about what's been your earliest memory with music or with singing. Like that felt like, that spark of that curiosity came into you and you were like, this is interesting. I want to explore this.
Yeah. So I think
when I was really young. I must be in my senior KG or playroom, and I would not.
That's really young.
Yeah, like I would not let my mother sleep till I finish all my rhymes that I would sing, like legit sing. Like if she would let me, like, this is one last one, let it go. I'm like, no, why will we not do that one? I love that one. And I would sing all the time around in my house. I had my favorite cassettes and I would play them all over again and again. And yeah, that's my earliest memory of it. But as I said, it was not a conscious part of me. It was very unconscious
Right.
part. How do I explain? Like I was doing it,
I
but
get
I
it.
did not recognize
You
it
don't
as
know
a
where it's coming
Yeah,
from.
I
It's
did-
something's there,
Yeah.
but you don't exactly know,
Yeah.
like what.
Yeah,
like
I was just
you
being
can't
a
put a
kid.
finger on it and say that, okay, this is
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
was
get
just being a kid who enjoyed music.
it. Yeah.
Never thought that it was going to be who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in 2022,
Yeah.
you were among the 24 artists that were chosen
Yeah.
by A.R. Rahman
Yeah.
to be featured
Wow.
as a original artist
Yeah.
on his platform called Nexa Music.
Yes.
Talk to me about that. How did that happen and how was that whole experience like?
Okay. So I think the first thing that was a dream come true that happened. But so Sir runs this platform, as you rightly pointed, Nexa Music with the band Nexa, where they're trying to highlight the upcoming English music talent in the country and specifically artists who write original English music.
Right.
So I heard about it and I had my original English songs that I was playing in Ahmedabad for some time. And I said, okay, let's send it.
Yeah.
Why not? Let's try. Because I played it to the audience and people around here have loved them. So that kind of gave me a little boost. Okay, let me send it.
Yeah.
And then, well, I did not expect myself to be in the top 24, being handpicked by him, and it just happened when the call came. I was flipping all over the place, and it was not real.
No. Don't go that far. Describe to me what was happening when you received that call. What was going on in your mind? Because, like you said, as a person, as a child, someone who always gravitated towards music. Did she ever think that this would happen, or did you manifest it? Like, what was it?
That is a very interesting question because when I was 13 years old and I had identified with music by now, then that I love singing and I want to do music. And by then, of course, I grew to Rahman Sir's music like everybody else. I used to just usually joke around to my mom, but someday you never know. Yeah, so will hear my voice.
And you will call me.
Yeah.
That's what you said.
Yeah, I used to just casually joke about it. And when this happened, in that moment, I was like, okay, wait, this cannot be real. But when I had an email that said, like, you have been handpicked by him, and I went like, wow, this
It
has
happened.
turned into a reality. Like,
Yeah.
what?
What do you speak out? Like, sometimes people don't realize,
Yeah.
that what you speak out is very, very crucial. Like, so you always speak out things that you want to
Yeah.
come to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think as a kid, when I used to say that, I must have not doubted it for a second. So, yeah, things happen. So I think you really have to be very wise with what you
Speak.
say about yourself and others and everything because it surely manifests
Yeah.
at some time.
And I feel like that's the lovely thing, about like being a child. Like, you
Yeah.
forget when you grow up that you have this innocence, like this childlike innocence, that whatever you
Spot on.
ask for, whatever you dream of,
Yeah.
you have no doubts that it's not going to come true.
Yes.
You feel like
Yeah.
it's going to be mine. Like,
Yeah.
there's no way, there's no other
Yeah.
way. So I feel like that's also, we forget that as we grow up.
Yeah.
But I feel like we should also remember that as well.
I was definitely a big daydreamer as a kid.
Oh,
and
you
that was
were?
my definitely the part-time job besides being a
I
kid.
think all artists are.
Yeah.
I think all artists are.
Yeah.
All artists, or everyone who works in a creative field,
Yeah.
be it like a designer, artist, singer, composer, you have to dream. Where else will you find these things to put out
Yeah.
and everything?
Yeah.
So talk to me about a little bit more about the song, like, and about your musical style. Like, what kind of genres do you like to sing? What is your personal style, and what kind of music you gravitate towards, and the kind of music you want to create?
So the song that I had submitted that created the impact is a blues song. Well, I did not intend it to be a blues. I just wrote the song because I had this female character inspired from my experiences and of women as a collective. And I wanted to write about that experience. So it's a song about a woman just having the capacity to have fun with herself in a party without any extra flattery from a random man.
Oh, wow.
Talks about that character. About the genres and styles of music, personally speaking, as a listener, I'm a very fluid listener. Like I listen to everything, but definitely my instinctive genres and styles that I gravitate towards is R&B, soul, pop, a bit of
Who's your favorite artist?
Oh my God, this is a very tough question.
I know. If someone
Because
asked
I
me
can't-
that, I would also be like
yeah,
that. But
because I
like,
can't really pick one, but definitely three women have really influenced my life growing up. One is Beyonce, second is Christina Aguilera,
oh,
and
interesting.
yeah, and the third one is Taylor Swift as a songwriter. She has been a very great influence in terms of songwriting. I love her songwriting.
You're preaching to the choir. When you mention Taylor Swift, you're preaching to the choir. You don't need to. Like
She's
yeah,
a genius when it comes to songwriting. So yeah,
she's like,
these and also Aretha Franklin. Yeah, when I was
okay.
really young, I was introduced to her early. So yeah, women, very strong women from
Yeah.
R&B and soul and country.
Very nice. I didn't point that out, but very interesting.
So, but there's also Hindi female artists that have influenced me. There's Ushaji, there's Sonidhi, there's Niti Mohan, Monali Thakur. These were like some of the
Very current
finest.
favorites.
Yeah, they've contributed a lot of Western music in the Hindi scene also.
Right.
So they have been also like really hardcore love from the childhood when I think about the style of the music that I have gravitated towards. So they have been also a very core part in my musical influence. Yeah.
Right. Interesting. Very nice. Talk to me about what's your creative process like in terms of singing, songwriting, composing, because I feel like you do all three, right?
Yes.
Like you
yes.
have your hand on all three and not just
Yes.
singing.
Yes.
So talk to me about that.
About songwriting and composing, my creative process, I think as an artist, generally, I'm a very intuitive person.
Okay.
So I think that translates into my songwriting process also. It's always that the melody comes to me the first,
Okay.
and it's where the melody takes me emotionally, is what decides where do I want to take this in terms of songwriting.
Right.
So that is the second half of my process. Like an idea in terms of melody will come to me, and I'll go back and forth and jot it down with my guitar or another instrument and record it on my phone, and then I'll keep going over and over it, and then I will start thinking of what emotion is it evoking in me, and that emotion will really narrate for me what story, theme, or a character I want to go about in terms of songwriting.
Yeah,
So,
I was just about to ask you, like, where do you draw the inspiration for the melody? Like, but like you said, like what story you want to tell or what emotion you're feeling. Is it like one comes before the other, or is it like every time the melody comes first and then you build up on that emotion, or is it like sometimes the other way around? Because most people feel a certain emotion and
Yeah.
then they feel inspired
Yeah.
to create.
Yeah.
So which one is it for you?
The answer is that I do have stories and narrations and inspirations that I think I want to write about. Like if something, sticks with me, I will write it down in my book. Like I know this is somewhere down the pipeline.
Yeah.
That I definitely do. But I still let the melody or the emotion in the melody guide me, whether it's a great fit
for that song or not.
Right.
So I definitely do write down my ideas if they come to me. But when do I decide where it will go? It depends on the melody. Although I have definitely also done sometimes the other way around. But as I said, as an instinctive person, the the
The
first
music takes
natural,
over, the
yes,
emotion takes the
yes,
backseat. Like, yeah.
yes, that
Okay.
one takes the
Interesting.
seat first for me
Very
most of the
interesting.
times. So, but I definitely do have a songbook idea where I keep writing my tiny phrases, inspirations, moments where I jot them down.
Can you
Definitely.
share like a recent melody or something that came to your mind that inspired you that, you feel like a little bit that you can share?
So there's this one idea I really want to write about, which talks about how some you think about something and it's inside you and it feels like a fever.
Okay.
So I want to write it in a way where this person or a thought or a situation has become inflamed in my experience.
Okay.
So, and yeah, that's the theme. So I just have a like
Like being
a
consumed by something
yeah,
like that.
yeah. But
Okay.
I would put that analogy with the fever. Like there's a fever inside my head, but that fever is this person or a situation. You've made my whole experience very inflammated in a way. So
So
that's just
inflammation is not a very like a positive thing,
in
right?
that.
Or is it like you mean it in a positive sense, inflamed, or like is it like
No,
gray? Is it like
it's in the sense of negative side, like it's
okay,
pain,
okay,
hurt,
okay,
or
okay,
yeah,
like
yeah.
took over my life,
Yeah,
kind of.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Like, okay, yeah. You've really got my headspace spinning right now.
okay, nice, interesting.
Yeah, very emotional side of it. But that's the rough idea.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I will have general ideas onto what do I want to go into.
right.
So I would like to use that thematic feeling at
Hmm.
some point in a song.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you ever take up inspiration or like, from here and there, from like observing or looking at people? Like, are you
Yeah,
that person or
absolutely.
like is it
Absolutely.
very instinctive only?
No, no, absolutely. Everybody's stories influence you. That's not possible. It's
Yeah.
going to happen. And I love, in fact, writing about other characters. So, which is why I think my bio says living moments, places, and living melodies in moments, places, and characters.
Oh, nice.
So it's even though that's not my story, when somebody says it to me or I'm observing them as a third person, I'm kind of living it, right? So it definitely influences your songwriting. There's no way it won't. And it's very inspiring. And I love doing that. Definitely. Like, and there are ideas around that also.
Okay, nice.
Like I met a friend. I really love the person she is. So I would love to write a song where I use her energy and her persona
Who
and
is
write.
this person? I have a feeling about who this person is.
No, no, no. You
Okay.
definitely don't know
Okay,
her.
good,
But
good, good.
she's part of the circle. Would love to. And I don't think she's ever gonna know that she was the muse for that song.
Oh,
But I don't mind telling her, but definitely my muse because I love the way she is and
like
yeah.
describe the character. Like, what is the
Mm.
character like?
She's very graceful
Okay.
and there's this thing about her, the way she's just flawless. She's always around the nature, the way she speaks to people. There's a certain way that she is, and the way she speaks, the way her favorite topics are about life. She's a character. She
Okay.
is a character, like books and travel and a very graceful way of living all this. It's not like some when you think about traveling, there are people who are energetic and like she's just there floating through
Oh,
all these
wow.
things. And it's just a delight to see her in that, serene space with herself.
Nice.
And it really moves me in a certain way. So I think I would like to write about her.
You should, because this
Yeah.
sounds very, what do you call it? Like,
Like she's in an element, but her element is so her. Like she's like poetry in motion in some ways.
now you should write about her.
Yeah.
Like,
So she's been on my mind ever since I've met her. And I'm like,
You look like my next muse. I want to write about you. And I love writing about women specifically. I've just realized
Yeah,
that.
what is it about that? I've noticed that you like women artists. You did not even name one male artist.
Oh no, there are definitely male artists that
But
I love.
what is this fascination about,
I am
writing and keeping women as of course, like, not complaining.
yeah, yeah.
Couldn't get a better topic than that. There couldn't be a better,
Yeah.
subject to
Yeah.
write on and to
Yeah.
explore.
Yeah.
But what interests in you? Like,
I have grown up amongst very strong women. I come from a household where it's women domination in good ways. And I think that has influenced heavily on how I look at life and things that I want to do and how I want to do them. So I think the female strength has been a very centric part of my story
right,
as,
that's where it
as a
comes from.
person and the environment I grew up in.
Right.
So that really makes me move towards that direction very naturally. Like I feel like we have stories of us and all the women that are not told, and it will be such a nice thing to do to, especially someone who is influenced from country music also. It's very interesting to look at the life of Indian women in the Indianness of it and then put them into the songs, you know? So that also really matters to me because as much as I love English music and Western music and I love writing it, I would like to bring the Indianness of being a woman into the English music that I write.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, because I would like to tell our stories.
Yeah.
Also.
We need more of that.
Yeah, like from our part.
Yeah.
Of
Like,
it.
like like Spanish and Spanish singers and like, even Western, like English singers or whatever, they write from their perspective.
Yeah.
But
about
I think
their place, their people.
Yeah, about
So definitely this is my medium that I love to write through, but I would love to bring in my stories around me where I grew up, with women I grew up, with men also.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was definitely,
Interesting.
yeah.
Talk to me about, like, some of these artists that you mentioned. Talk to me about their work that has, created like an impact, like something that stood out and like has stayed with you and that you keep with you because you are like, oh, this is like um a school in itself, like this piece of content or music or that they created is like how, like DDLJ studied as a subject in film schools.
Well,
So like, do you have any such like pieces from artists that you mentioned that know you can keep it like, okay, this is like forever schooling, like if I ever get lost, I'll go back to that.
I think that ties into the same conversation that we had. Like my musical influences were also very strong women-centric songwriting artists. I mean, be it Beyonce or Taylor Swift. Like they really bring you in the world of women and how she sees it. I mean, Beyonce really did that when she said, like, who runs the world? It's us. And she really, I mean, for example, that song Irreplaceable, she puts in that female emotional power in that song when she said that, like, you think I cannot live without you. Well, you are wrong. I can take this life in my hands. So, and also I have seen them beyond music doing this advocacy for female lineage. So that is there. That has also tied into it. Definitely, in terms of artistry, also.
I think Beyonce has this one more song. I think Formation.
Yes,
Because
I love that
my
song.
brother, I think, made me listen to this one paragraph from that. Is there like this huge paragraph that the song has? My brother made me listen to it, and I couldn't remember this name of the song, but I feel like it's the Formation.
And I think these artists have taken beyond the songwriting, taking this, flag forward for the female in the
I never
community.
looked at it like that.
Yeah.
Like, although, like, I think unconsciously or subconsciously, I might know, like, just how, you said a while ago, but I never, like, said it like, oh,
Yeah.
like, women thing, whatever.
Yeah.
But I love to listen to it. Like,
Yeah.
I love when,
Yeah.
those perspectives are put out there,
Yeah.
and like, a song and a piece of music is made on, an observation about like, a certain strong emotion or a situation that
Yes.
someone has gone through.
Yeah.
And it kind of in a strange way like resonates with you as well.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it might not. But that's very interesting. I never thought about it very, very like that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And it's not just the power. I think they've also done a good job at bringing out the beautiful, emotional, fragile side of women also. They have certain songs that show you the both dichotomy of being a woman.
Yeah.
That so yeah, really, really big inspirations in that way.
True, true, true. Yeah, of course, I love that they, can be so vulnerable
Yeah.
and do this. And kudos to them, and
Yeah.
kudos to you as well for,
I'm trying.
wanting to do this further. Um, Talk to me about what are some of the challenges that you faced in your, singing, writing, composing, something that stands out, something from like, you worked with A.R. Rahman and composed a song for
Yeah.
his platform. So what was like the biggest challenge that you faced?
Figuring out how to do this career or do this as my passion. Because once I recognized my um, love for it, it was like, okay, so where do I start with this? And how do you make a life out of it, if
Yeah.
at all I want to?
Yeah.
So, because there are no structures, especially in the country that we lived in at that point, at that time specifically. So it was like a big question mark constantly. Like at 13, if I said, oh, I wanted to be a singer, I was like, so what exactly like I have to do to be a singer for movies or to what do I do to get?
Yeah. What is the process?
Yeah,
like if you want to become a CA, you do this, you give this exam, you go here, you do this, do this training or whatever.
Yeah.
But like
I
get
know,
it.
okay, you go for training and you learn music, etc. But then what?
Yeah.
After having training, then what? Like you, okay, there are local shows, but then how do I get there? Especially when you have big people and idols and singers that have influenced, you're like, okay, sir, but how do you get there? Like,
Yeah.
what is the pathway? And like, you know that they have done songs and they've worked with the greatest of musicians. But then again, how do you get there? So, what is that roadmap for you? So, that was like the biggest challenge through and through, that how do I figure this out? And that I had to do for a long time, from school to the college. And yeah, I slowly and gradually, with a hit and a miss here and there, I started figuring it out. So that has been
Yeah.
the biggest challenge so far, and also learning how to make like a good sustainable financial career out of it. Yeah, especially when you want to write original music.
Yeah, the process is like a challenge for most of us because we are like, we want to do something, we don't know what. Sometimes you have a name for something like singing. But in that also, like, when you start, like there are certain challenges that you face. Like, say, for example, how did you start? Where did you start? Like, let's go through that.
To the roots, yes. So it was teenage, around 13, 14, when I really strongly started identifying with the fact that, okay, I love this way more than I realize how much I love to do this. So then I started speaking up at home that I love singing, and then I started participating in these competitions and I would get through them, reality shows and things like that. So my family also kind of started noticing, oh, no, there's something here. Okay. So they put me for a very tiny while into training, very tiny while, like 3-4 months roughly. But then we couldn't go further much because it was something we couldn't do financially. So then I sat back home and said, okay, I can still learn music. And then came college, where I think a very substantial thing, the college platforms, like the competitions, the youth fests, and things like that. I found a
a category. They said Western music. And I said, what?
Hmm.
You are speaking my dreams to me. There's a category to compete for Western music. Oh my God, I want to sing. I badly want to sing.
Which college was this? Where was this?
So I was in LD Arts, that's a college in Ahmedabad, and I was studying psychology there.
Right.
So I was like, this is it.
So
I have
this
been
youth
waiting for this
festival-
moment, yes,
Yeah.
to be wanting to sing the English songs to an audience.
Yeah.
I mean, this is it. And I started singing in those competitions, and things just started getting better. I started winning these competitions every once in a while. And I was like, wow, now these competitions put me into space of getting to know more musicians in the city. And from there, the snowball of rolling it out started. And I started meeting more like minded people and observing their lives, their journeys, what they have done, showed me my pathway slowly and slowly as to what they were doing. So I was
Yeah.
like, okay, the next step is how to get into the real scene from the competitions.
Yeah.
So that took a while, got into the real scene, observed it for a while, see what everybody's doing, and then started getting opportunities. So when there's an opportunity, show up for it.
Yeah.
That's what I learned. So I started doing shows slowly, slowly, gradually. And
So these shows were where? What
in
shows were?
Ahmedabad. So, for example, I started doing open mics initially. Like, I said, okay, I'm just going to go and start singing in an open mic
Yeah.
and start letting people know that I sing this content
Yeah.
and I write my own content and I want to sing it to you. And then I started attending more community based meetups of musicians and started singing there too. And that got me into the pipeline of opportunities eventually because people started flooding in on my social handles and they're like, hey, I love what you sing and I love your voice. And I'm like, really? Wow. Okay. I mean, I don't expect people to do that, but then that love is also very overwhelming in many ways. So, yeah. And I started uploading tiny covers on my IG and yeah, just opportunities started showing up from there on.
Yeah.
Like professional shows from there, and then we start making money. I also started teaching because people were like, wow, I want to also sing Western. Can you teach? And I'm like, I can try. I'm not trained myself.
Yeah.
But then I had senior musicians who pushed me, like, well, we think you can. You sing quite well enough. You should start doing that. So I started
Yeah.
teaching also side by side.
Yeah, but wasn't it intimidating? Like, how are you going to do this? Because, when you're yourself not trained, like traditionally trained, like you have these things like in your head, like,
Yeah.
that how are you going to do this?
Yeah.
So, how did you, like, because sometimes to teach you have to like learn
Yeah.
how to teach that subject.
Yeah.
So, how did that happen? How did you navigate through that? How did you do that?
Definitely, you are nervous about it. And if you're somebody like me, you like to do things to the detail, to the perfection with responsibility. You are very conscious of how you do it, what you're doing, when you are doing it. So, I definitely had my nerves about the fact that really should I teach? But then, as I said, there were people around me who I looked up to, who I admire as fellow musicians. When they showed me the way, whys, and hows I deserve to do this, I think that really helped me. That push was very necessary. And I got that right warm push from them. And I started structuring what I do to be able to teach to others.
Can you elaborate on that structure?
So if you start learning singing at first, you might really feel that, okay, this really sucks. And if you're critical like me, the things that you will highlight are the only bad things about your singing. So you will paint this whole picture and that will stop your progress. So the way to get through it is you say, okay, well, this just needs work. Instead of telling yourself it has to be hard work, it's just work. And you kind of accept it as it is and you keep trying gradually.
But what are these
slowly.
techniques that you do? Is what I'm saying. Like, what are these steps? Like actual steps.
So in the vocal technique,
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the
yeah.
sense.
In terms of singing, like what are
So
these?
there are gradual steps. You begin with understanding smaller warm-ups, which will show you what is the larger application when you're singing a whole song or a melody or a composition.
Right.
So you go into the foundational methods of the pitch, the breathing, the rhythm. There's a lot of vocal technique. You learn about your voice, your health, how to use your body as an instrument. You go in depth of understanding this whole beautiful instrument because
Yeah, elaborate on that a little bit, because when we first spoke, you said that what is the instrument that you play? And you just left the question there. And then the answer was what you just said. So elaborate on that a little
yeah.
bit.
So for a guitarist, guitar is an instrument, right? For somebody who's a keyboardist, they play a keyboard or a Casio or a piano as an instrument. For a singer, a voice is what is being produced in the body. So your body and your voice is your instrument. So it's when you generally ask a singer what's their instrument, they start feeling very perplexed because they've never thought it that way.
Yeah.
So especially the beginners.
Yeah.
So
And most people will say their voice.
yes.
But it was interesting that you said that it's your whole body.
Yes,
Yeah.
because you're using these different faculties from your brain to muscles to different parts in your throat, in your chest. So you really need to tap into them to achieve a certain output, right?
Right.
So that is where it starts from that realization. Because
Right.
for me, that is the step one for me
Hmm.
to recognize the instrument. And then from there, we go into how to use those different faculties that are targeted warm ups, methods that we work into, and then we use it into the application. So that could be the three steps.
Right.
Recognizing what you're using for singing, then you do these ABCs of how to use it,
Hmm.
and then you start applying it as the third step in your
Right.
singing.
That will help.
Yeah.
When you break it down, like I'm a very science person brain. I need steps.
Yeah.
Anything that I do,
Yeah.
I can visualize what is the first step. What's anything
Yeah.
It's like you have to know that okay, once I do this, then I do this, then it's very scientific in my brain. So that's
And
why
it
I wanted
is.
to ask you, if somebody watching, listening,
Yeah.
they would be like, but what are these steps?
Yes.
So
And it is singing is a very athletic activity.
interesting.
Yes, because there's muscles of your body that are engaging itself, and then there's also your mental energy and emotional energy going into it.
Right.
So you can't think of it anything less than that, right? Because all your sensibilities are engaged when you're singing. So it is very important that you learn it that way first. It has helped me a lot
Yeah.
when I figured it out myself.
No, it makes sense also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is very important to go that route because it really helps. It changes your perspective in good ways of how to approach it.
Right. Right.
And then, of course, after you're done with all of that, you start going towards the artistic direction of finding your artistry, which is the fourth step.
Talk to me about what are the key essentials or key methods,
Yeah.
like apart from these warm ups and
Yeah.
everything,
Yeah.
that someone needs to keep in mind to sing any kind of song. And also, what are some of the myths when it comes to singing, or particularly say Western vocal singing or something? Talk to me about that.
So, about the first question that you asked, which is essentials, besides, of course, having technique, for me, the topmost essential, I think, is the soul. Like you adding yourself into the song.
Right.
I think nothing beats that.
Hmm.
You could be a little okay with the technique or poor, that's okay. But if you can't have the ability to connect with the song with yourself, how do you do that with somebody who's listening to you?
Right.
So I think for me, that is the topmost essential to be able to be to pour yourself into the song.
Right.
Really be present in that song. Nothing can top that for me. I think that is the most important essential. And I think that's what makes your music yours.
Right.
Even if it's somebody else's song and you are singing it, it brings a piece of you in it. So I think, yeah, that is my topmost essential. And the other question? Sorry if I'm asking you. It was
What are the myths that you think,
Western singing myths. Definitely the topmost myth that I have seen and I've like really come across is people say, "Oh, it's not gonna work in India," but that's a lie because you don't know you have been listening to Western music in Hindi for the longest. It's been everywhere. I mean, I grew up to it from Usha ji to so many songs that have been done in the 90s and 2000s, and I think a little way back then in Asha ji's time also come from a lot of Western influences.
Okay.
It's just that the Indian audience has not had that broad spectrum to be able to recognize it as Western music so that they can say, oh, it's working here. It's been working forever. It's just that we don't have that recognition,
Yeah.
right? So I think that is a big myth that I have seen being floated around that
Yeah.
it's we don't know if we will warm up to it. Well, you have warmed up to it long ago
Yeah.
without
You
your
just don't
awareness.
know it.
Yes.
I think both the answers that you gave,
Yeah.
like very, very true. Like, it could be very basic, but, not
Yeah.
like picked up on, like, say, the connection that you mentioned. Like, if you connect with the song and if you connect with the music. I remember when we also discussed, you kept on telling me that like, I don't want to say too much about it, but you kept on telling me that no, I see you,
Yeah.
sing this. I see you because there's a certain connect that you felt. So yeah, I get it. And and even in the myths, like you said very rightly, that you don't know, but it's always been there in front of your eyes, but you've never looked at it that way.
And you've admired it. It's just the lack of recognition.
Yeah.
And it's not because by choice, it's because we don't know, we have not been exposed to it very specifically in a certain way to be able to label it, if it comes into our own language.
Yeah.
So that's it. But yeah, it's been around forever.
Great, interesting.
Yeah.
Talking about that, I wanted to ask you one very, important thing is that
Yeah.
how do you see the Indian English Western music space evolve? And what are you looking forward to the most? What are some of the things that you think that, oh wow, if this would happen, it would be great?
I have genuinely seen it evolve because when I myself transitioned from college to coming into this professionally, through that I've seen from almost not having any scene to a point where we have so many indie English musicians bringing out their piece of work, putting it out there for the world, and that getting a space, an audience. All these music fests are happening. The artists from outside have started coming to India.
Yeah.
I think that is happening because we have an audience
Yeah.
pretty much there. It's just that most of the time we are sleeping on it. And I see it evolving in a way that I I've seen the Indian audience starting to embrace the Indian English musicians and singers now. Up until a point, it was all just everybody from America and UK and Europe and things like that. But now I see so many of them leading that pathway for us, some of us who are sitting here, and more music happening. There are more platforms or pushing. There are scholarships and funds that are being created.
Really?
Yeah, there are initiatives and organizations who are pushing in funds to support indie artists.
Wow.
If you
that's
have a
amazing.
great song, you can pitch it to them, and then like the one they find the
We'll fund
best,
you.
they will fund that song because they're trying to push this wholesome culture of art and music. So it's everywhere. I mean, AR sir himself is doing it. I mean, that says
Yeah.
a lot. So yeah.
What was your interaction with him? Did you
Oh
interact
my God.
with him?
That is the most emotional moment I've had on camera in my life because he's there asking me questions about what kind of songs do you want to write, what kind of music you want to do. I had such an
have
emotional lump
fainted.
in my throat talking about it because I was like, I can't. This is the man whose music I grew up to. I idolized it because he also has given so much Western influenced music in Hindi form that I
I couldn't come to my senses in those few moments. I was genuinely like, I couldn't talk, honestly. And if you go to that clip, you can see it. Like, I'm just trying really hard to be in that
I
moment and
want to see
process
that clip. There is a clip. I don't know. I
it.
want to see that clip.
Yeah.
But like
It
jokes
was,
apart, like
yeah, no, not jokes apart. It was genuinely a very emotional moment.
yeah.
I had to get myself together to be able to even talk about my music to him. It was, I think, it is a moment I will never forget in my life. And even if I talk about it, it makes me emotional.
If you ever forget, I will be there to remind you that, hey, listen, you met A.R. Rahman, okay? And he was interested in your singing, which is like, I would die if that happened to me.
I died 100 deaths because it was so emotional, really, honestly. I was tearing up and I had to control it. That,
Yeah.
Akshita, please relax.
But like, it speaks volumes about him. He's an all-rounder. Like he has
Him
given
doing this
legendary
is,
music and
yeah,
sitting with you and asking you that,
yeah,
what do you want to sing? And like it's just amazing. Like
yeah. What he is doing for the scene, for musicians like me out there, it's such a much needed push because we as musicians, of course, have started saying that we are going to hold this space. This is my artistry, and I'm going to put it out there,
yeah.
and I'm going to be unapologetic about it. But also seeing somebody like him step in
Yeah.
to support it, oh
Makes a
God,
huge difference.
it makes a huge difference. And I'm so thankful for it.
Yeah.
God, it's it's really beyond being grateful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. I mean, lovely. With that, we'll move to another segment, which is called
Okay.
the segment of Curious Quick 5 Questions.
Okay.
So it's going to be a little quick. So
Okay.
you have to be like, like
Oh
that.
my God, I'm bad with
So
this.
what's the one thing that you're curious about lately? Apart from music and singing, composing, all of that stuff, like something random.
Mm. I want to really do something more in visual arts, and that is another interest I have. So I want to learn something new in that. So I've been looking up for things that will, you know,
Like,
really improve my. Um, I mean, ceramics have been really
oh,
piquing my interest.
nice.
Yeah, like
Interesting.
I would love to get my hands a bit dirty and make some sculptures or some beautiful
Wow.
vases. I am an artsy person. Besides music, also like I love.
Yeah, I can see that. I asked for
I
an
love.
answer apart from arts and stuff, and you're giving me ceramics. But so I can
Yeah,
understand.
but it's not music.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
love.
that's you.
Yeah,
So
that's
just
me.
keep it. Like,
Yeah.
it's nice. What's the one person that you're curious about?
Oh, you.
Oh my, I mean, she's also agreeing. The one like behind the
Yeah.
camera, she's
I
also
said it
agreeing.
just 5 minutes back. I love what a go-getter you are.
Oh my God.
Yes, I love it. You want something, you are at it to get it to the T. And I love it. It's such a force to have.
Thank
I
you.
love it. Yeah.
Thank you. To the T is important.
Yes.
To the T.
Yeah. And me
Thank
being
you. Thank you.
the perfectionist, I get you, girl.
Thank you. It means a lot. Means a lot coming from you, a fellow like perfectionist,
Yeah.
artist, creative, everything.
Yeah.
So yeah. What's the one place you're curious to travel to?
Oh my God, I want to go to Europe. I can.
Europe is a continent.
I mean, everything. I
Okay.
mean, I think Italy would be
Oh wow.
it
Yeah. We should
because
go to Italy.
the architecture. Oh my God.
Let's go to Italy.
Yes, yeah, let's go. Let's write a song about going to Italy
Oh
together
wow. Do you like you're
and romanticizing it.
yeah. Love that. Love that you've taken
Yeah.
one step further, like just like me. Not just stopping at going for a trip, but writing a song
Yeah,
about
I
it.
mean, I think the
I love that. I love
yeah,
that. Love that.
it's poetry. The
It should
architecture
happen.
there.
This
Yeah.
Italian song should happen.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward
Oh
to
my
it.
God, Italian. Yes, let's go.
What's the one book or author you're curious about?
Ooh, this is a very interesting one. I read this book called Psychology of Money a
Okay.
month back. So
I've seen it everywhere, but I've
yeah,
not read it.
I love that book. Being a psychologist, you see, so I don't remember the author's name,
Okay.
but I would love to read more works from him. Yeah, because very interesting. It's on the same lines.
What did you find interesting?
To understand money through behavior and especially very personalized to you.
because the way you grow up really influences the beliefs you have around money. And I think that book has done a fantastic job on that.
Okay,
I mean,
nice.
oh, amazing. It was an amazing read. Yeah. It
Lovely.
really helped me with my beliefs around money. So, yeah, I love that book. Yeah.
What's the one technology that you're curious about?
I am very concerned with AI coming in.
Concerned
Yes.
being the operative word.
But I'm also not afraid of it because as an artist, I can definitely tell myself that nothing can bring authenticity as in a replaceable factor.
True.
So, but I'm concerned because I think art gives you an outlet. I mean, don't take that away.
Art is life. Life is art.
Yeah.
Like I went to this. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
I went to this museum in Barcelona. It was the Picasso Museum, and there were these paintings and everything. In one of the I don't know why I distinctly remember this.
Yeah.
It's also my caption in one of my pictures. In like it says that beneath the painting, it
Yeah.
says, in the artist's studio, the art and life are forever entwined.
Oh my God. Yes.
So
that
I get it
speaks
what
to
you
me.
mean. Yeah.
Yeah. That
It's life.
speaks to the edge of my soul.
And also one other, life imitates art and art imitates life. It
Absolutely.
goes hand in
It's
hand.
like you can't take the beauty of the pen and paper and the brush,
Yeah,
just using it in the raw form.
true.
Like the AI can create the digital artwork, etc., recreate it. But I'm like, can you take that joy
The
away
human
from
error.
me? Yeah.
Yeah,
Of doing it with my hands.
yeah. It's a
Yeah.
joy. True.
Yeah. It lets you bring a piece of you into it. So yeah.
True. Very well said. With
Yeah.
that, we've reached the end
Oh
of
my
our
God.
conversation. Lovely
Wow.
conversation. Are there any last thoughts, feelings that you would like to share about being here, everything?
I really appreciate the fact that this conversation highlighted the indie artist. So, coming from Ahmedabad, Gujarat, there's so much talent pool in terms of indie music, indie English music. And I mean, we get all the spotlight outside Gujarat, but I feel like me and everybody who I know, we feel under the rock within our own city and our own premises. And these conversations, that's all it takes, you know? So, I
To
mean,
highlight that this is happening.
even the mainstream media within the local vicinity is not picking this up. And you doing this, I have absolute gratitude for it. Thank you.
Lovely. It's my pleasure entirely. I'm taking it. But yeah, I get what you mean. I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I get what you're trying to say from that because, I was also gonna when we talked about indie music in India, we forgot, missed out on indie music in Ahmedabad itself per se. But yeah, I feel like it's gonna like take a life of its own slowly.
It has already taken a life of its own. It's just that I feel like that my own vicinity is sleeping on it. Like there's so many people that know us from outside here.
Yeah.
Our work is reaching there. But I would love to be able to connect with my own people.
But I agree with that. Even today I was talking to someone, like my makeup artist, told me about this, that I didn't know you existed. I didn't know the scene is so big, and I didn't know that so much is happening. It's kind of like not in the mainstream spotlight, which is sad. I get it. But yeah, I'm glad that it's happening, and I'm glad that I know you now. And
we are here, and we are not going to be
hidden now.
Yes, we are going to take up that space.
Great.
Proudly.
Looking forward to it. Looking forward to more music from you.
Yes.
And thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you so much for having me.
And yeah,
What an honor.
teach me to sing like you.
Yes, I'm excited to do that.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much.